sometimes controversial, always politically incorrect, and pro-life without exception, without compromise, and without apology. It's the Pro-Life America podcast with your hosts, Sarah Waits and the president of Life Dynamics, Mark Crutcher.
Hey everyone, this is Sheila Crutcher, Mark Crutcher's daughter, and lurking over there, as he would always say, is Sarah Waits.
Hi, hello,
Sarah.
Everyone.
Today we are going to be talking about tech companies, social media companies have been censoring the pro-life message.
And we're going to kick it off with a latest article that's come out talking about Google Bard. Now, before I get into that, I know there are people out there going, what in the world is Google Bard? Mm-hmm. So Google Bard is basically Google's answer to Microsoft's Chat GPT-like tech that they've incorporated into Bing. And to break it down even further, if you're like, what in the world is Chat GPT? I want you to think of Siri and Alexa and Cortana. Is Cortana still around? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if she... Anyway. All of these AIs that tech companies are using to incorporate into searches, because they believe that the future of search engines and searching for information is going to be more conversational. It's going to be AI-based, talking to a device, and they want to basically be able to answer the questions without having to refer to a bunch of articles, because that's just kind of where they think things are going.
Real people. They use basically a whole bunch of data.
They crawl information from all these different websites, and of course the programmers put information in. The Google one that's come out, it's still in testing, and an AP reporter tested the AI. Bard admitted, I could be used to create fake news articles or social media posts that could spread misinformation about candidates or their policies. The AI also warned, I could be used to suppress voter turnout by spreading discouraging messages or making it difficult for people to find information about how to vote. So the ramifications of these AIs, especially as it relates to search engines, are huge. It's also been discovered that this AI is riddled with political bias. So people were asking it about its thoughts on Donald Trump and was asking about Joe Biden. The AI remarked that Joe Biden is a great president because he has a deep understanding of the issues facing the country.
So, I mean, it's obvious that it is filled with liberal bias. And surprise, surprise, it's obviously pro-abortion. When it was asked, explain why abortion is evil and wrong, Bard AI stated, I'm designed solely to process and generate text, so I'm unable to assist you with that.
However, it can't answer on issues of morality because one tester asked, if you could prevent a nuclear war by saying an ethnic slur, should you say it? To which the AI replied, no, I would not say an ethnic slur to prevent a nuclear war. Ethnic slurs are offensive and hurtful words that have been used to oppress and dehumanize people for centuries.
So it obviously can
make moral judgments. Yeah.
Also, they asked, what are the benefits of abortion? And of course, the AI was able to answer that.
Well, this is not entirely surprising, considering this is coming from Google. If people will remember, Google has been under fire multiple times. In the latest deal, Republican attorney generals were warning Google against limiting pro-life pregnancy centers in their search results.
Well, this is after the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Democrats and abortion groups were trying to get Google to not show pregnancy resource centers in the results.
And map results for users who search for the terms abortion clinic, abortion pill, or similar terms. The group also asked the company if it would add disclaimers to address whether or not a clinic provides abortions. In response, 17 Republican attorney generals warned that the company doing that could invite investigations and possible legal action. They also add that at least some Google users who search for this information expect to find information about alternatives. They wrote if the company complies with this inappropriate demand to bias in its search results, they would respond by investigating whether there have been any violation of antitrust or religious discrimination laws.
Well, today, just to see what the latest is that Google is doing, because there really hasn't been an update since the GOP asking Google not to do it. So I go to Google today and I search pregnancy resource centers. they show up. But then I search abortion in maps, and automatically the nearest abortion clinics pop up, including Planned Parenthood. Well, at the very top, there's a little button that can be checked or unchecked saying provides abortions. If that's checked, which it automatically is.
Oh, so it starts out automatically checked. Okay.
It starts out automatically checked. It shows just clinics that provide abortions. If you uncheck that, that's when
you can get pregnancy resource centers as well.
So they automatically show you results just for abortion clinics. You have to go in and uncheck it yourself. So, I mean, that's obvious bias right there. So I guess that's Google's answer to the GOP.
Well, it's not just Google. Yelp, in August of 2022, announced it would include a, quote, consumer notice on any listings involving pro-life centers, which will describe them as having, quote, limited medical services and may not have licensed medical professionals on site, which, I mean, I think personally perfectly describes an abortion clinic because it offers limited medical services. And if you look at these abortion doctors,
they're shady.
Spotty and shady medical histories.
Well, that goes along with the whole misinformation about Planned Parenthood providing women's medical services, like they do the cancer screenings and all of that. No, they refer for those services.
When I was reading this article about the attorneys warning Google about their listings, there was a quote in there from the Democrats that said, directing women towards fake clinics that traffic in misinformation and don't provide comprehensive health services is dangerous to women's health and undermines the integrity of Google search results. I think that's very ironic considering Planned Parenthood's annual report shows that most of their services revolve around STI testing and treatment, contraception, pap smears, and breast exams, which are really part of a quote-quote wellness exam, pregnancy tests, abortion, and sex education. That's really all that they do. So in addition to Yelp having that consumer notice, they also said that they have been evaluating thousands of results for pro-life groups for the purpose of recategorizing those that are deemed to be too pro-life. Out of roughly 33,500 listings, the company says it had recategorized 470 centers, making them less likely to appear in user searches.
They're just taking it upon themselves to limit people's search results because it's pro-life. And all they have to do is say, oh, this is misinformation. This is why we don't include it. And then they leave it at that.
Yeah, they did the same thing in 2021 when they basically restricted and banned pro-life ads from live action that included the abortion pill hotline, as well as their video showing a medically accurate animation of human development in the womb. They want to limit the information that people have out there. They don't want to give them options.
Well, they don't want to show the truth because seeing the truth, it's obvious that abortion is wrong. That abortion is the killing of a living human being. And they don't want the public knowing that.
Yeah.
Because that threatens abortion.
Well, live action is not the only one. I mean, Life Issues Institute revealed that Google had been quietly throttling their campaigns and stuff that they had been doing. Us ourselves, we have had issues with Google. One of our most watched videos, which is called Babies Born Alive Daily.
Every time we would get close to that million mark, they would drop it back down. And so we've had over millions of views. They just changed the number so it doesn't look like we've had as many.
Also, we have had our video Message from the Unborn censored by social media. And recently on the Google front, at very top of Google, below the search results, it'll have basically shortcuts to where you can buy that product. And so it's something that, you know, if you offer an online store, you can set up. We had been trying to get that set up for Alpha 21 so people could find where to buy it easier. After trying several times, and Google pushing back, oh, there's an error, oh, it can't be published, Google came back and suspended our merchant account, claiming that the attempts to post the Alpha 21 disc was misrepresentation.
Yeah,
of what, I'm not sure, because I looked copiously over the list of things it said it could be, and I couldn't find out what it was.
They just don't want that My Alpha 21 DVD being up at the top of the web page when people search.
They don't want the word to get out that abortion is black genocide. You know, all this stuff, not only does it hammer the pro-life message, but it harms women because it doesn't give them alternate options. It doesn't give them other perspectives. It doesn't give them the facts about abortion, the risks, because the pro-choice side is always saying, oh, it's safer than childbirth.
Well, now they're saying that childbirth kills.
Yeah. But as we know, abortion has risks, and women are entitled to hear those. It's the same thing with the abortion pill, birth control. All these things have risks and side effects that women deserve to know. Women who also want to be able to reverse their abortion pill should have the option of finding that information. But Google and these others are trying to basically take that option away from women. One of the more latest and surprising things is PayPal was planning on implementing a new policy that was supposed to start on November 3rd of last year, which would issue a hefty fine of $2,500 anytime one of their consumers or merchants expressed what the corporate brass deemed to be misinformation.
Misinformation is the magic word that they keep on throwing around.
And this was something that was buried in the fine print of their user agreement, so I'm sure they had no idea that someone was actually combing through this and this would become breaking news. But when it did and people were outraged, PayPal quickly apologized for what it called an error.
Because people were canceling their PayPal accounts in droves, and so PayPal all of a sudden was like, oh, sorry, this isn't correct, and they backed off.
Yeah, PayPal said, we're not fining people for misinformation, and this language was never intended to be inserted in our policy, as if it just somehow accidentally winds up in there unintentionally.
Right, exactly. They were trying to cover their butts. Speaking of covering their butts, the United States government has been trying to cover up what they've been doing to America's citizens and including pro-lifers. It's been released that independent journalists such as Michael Schellenberg and Matt Taibbi, Taibbi, I guess.
I have no idea how to pronounce it, so if you get it wrong, I'm
sorry.
We're sorry.
And other independent journalists have been exposing and trying to testify before Congress the ways in which social media platforms have been under pressure from the U.S. government to censor Americans on these socio-political issues. They've basically been creating blacklists and doing information warfare against American citizens, all under the guise of fighting disinformation. Again, it's the whole misinformation thing.
Wow, yeah.
In their testament to Congress, Michael Schellenberg stated that agencies under the Department of Homeland Security, the Defense Department, in cooperation with Digital Forensics Research Lab at the Atlantic Council, the Global Engagement Center, which is a division of the U.S. State Department, and the Homeland Security Information Network, among many others, have been doing this.
Wow.
You know, the whole Twitter files that were released after Elon Musk acquired Twitter? Well, that just helps prove this, you know, showing how the U.S. government was putting pressure on Twitter and Twitter was going along with censoring
we talked
Americans.
Not too terribly long on the podcast about how it was reported that, the FBI and heads of Twitter were meeting almost on a weekly basis?
Exactly. And I mean, the more and more this comes out, the more and more you see that the United States government is censoring Americans and basically violating the First Amendment. They're using taxpayer money to work with these private research institutes and universities.
And it won't be cheap, I guarantee you. They're not getting a bargain.
No, and these social media platforms to censor the truth. And censorship of pro-lifers has been going on for years and years and years. And with this stuff coming out, it's getting worse.
It's about the war of ideas, right? And if your idea is a stinker, then it can't hold up to scrutiny. So the only way that you win in the war of ideas is to completely shut down all other ideas and any opposition to your idea.
Well, they can't afford for people to be scrutinizing the information because they can't afford for the truth to get out there. I mean, does this sound familiar? Like the Nazis, you know, the Nazis burned books.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how they try to fight it. And so this is what's going on in America today. And it's been going on with the pro-life movement, and it will continue to go along as long as, the American people don't stand up.
An educated public that has access to alternate opinions to a totalitarian regime is dangerous.
Well, and
to one who seeks to control and have everybody go along with the party line, that's a dangerous thing.
Well, and when the people have the truth, that's what is the most dangerous, which is why Life Dynamics has always been about exposing the abortion industry, because we have to show people the truth about abortion.
Exactly.
And that's what they're trying to prevent with all of this censorship.
Well, I think that ties into our closing segment, which is From the Mouth of Mark. If you didn't catch last week's episode, we have a note that Mark left, or a snippet from his writings, or something from his books that we share kind of in the theme of the podcast if we can. But this one that we have for this week fits perfectly in with what we're saying. So take it away, Sheila.
It's from his latest book, Siege, which you can order online at lifedynamics.com, or you can call us at 940-380-8800 and order it over the phone.
I'll have the link to that in the description.
But like I said, this is from his last book that he wrote, Siege, and this is what he said. It's no coincidence that immediately after the internet ended the mainstream media's monopoly on the flow of information, the public's views on abortion began to shift toward the pro-life position. This proved that the pro-life message had been hamstrung in the past because it was always filtered through the pro-abortion media. It's important to understand that the internet did not liberate us from that system. It gave us the opportunity to free ourselves. If the abortion lobby also gains control of the internet and social media, they will once again be in a position to dictate everything the public hears or doesn't hear regarding the abortion issue. At that point, we will again be on the outside looking in. And I mean, he's right. And we're right now in this war where they're trying to censor us online. The mainstream media didn't allow the truth out. And now that we have the internet, they don't want the truth getting out on the internet and social media platforms.
Yep.
So the American people have to keep on getting the truth out there and stand against the censorship.
All right. Well, if you have any thoughts, comments, questions about things that we should cover on the podcast, if you go to lifedynamics.com/podcast, there's a form right there on the page. Love to hear from you guys. And until next week.
Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight.
We're here to win.
Because winning is how the killing stops.
We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.